What's going on, guys? Welcome to the OwnersBox YouTube channel. In today's video, we're talking about 3 players that will help you rebuild your Dynasty team, whether it's a fast track. These guys aren't players that I think are going to make massive impacts this year, but there's a role for them to be serious fantasy assets in the coming years. These players, I'm looking at a quarterback and 2 wide receivers. Really tough to look at the running back position as guys to look at in like a 3-4 year outlook, especially if we're looking to rebuild and we're set for a rebuild. Some people might like to, just collect draft picks. I'm not going to talk about rookies because really that's, for some of you, you might not have even had your rookie draft. So these are players that are already in the league, have at least 1 year in the league. Hopefully you like these guys because last week, you guys fucking hated every pick I gave. The Miles Sanders slander was completely out of control. That's fine though. This is a bounce back opportunity. Let's find some players. I'll have a full write-up on these guys on the OwnersBox blog. Link will be down below in the description. If you guys like the players, if you guys hate the players, like the video, comment down below, roast the picks. I don't really care. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. Let's start with Justin Fields, a player that had a really, really tough rookie season, but I really like his outlook moving forward because I think he is going to be the best quarterback out of that 2021 draft class. 23 years old, the Fields usage under Matt Nagy was just completely malpractice. It was a disgrace to a player of his skill set. We've got a new coaching staff, Matt Eberflus stepping in, and then they hired the Packers quarterbacks coach to be the offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy. So again, going back to that usage in 2021, I'm looking at 23.8% of his dropbacks. Justin Fields dropbacks were in play action. Like that is irresponsible as a head coach with a quarterback that has this type of mobility. We're looking at Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen. We're all more than 10% higher in play action dropbacks. The opportunity with Fields is to use his legs, not just purely running the football, but getting him out of the pocket and getting his legs moving and throwing outside of the pocket. He's great doing that. 26th in the league, that was, in terms of play action dropbacks last year. Pressured on 42.8% of all dropbacks. There are only 2 quarterbacks in the league that had a worse rate. That was Tyrod Taylor and Jacoby Brissett. So I really think there's an opportunity here with a player that has a ton of talent. Ohio State, under Ryan Day, this was a vertical offense, a vertical scheme. He has a willingness to push the ball down the field that guys with his type of mobility, typically you do not see. We're not seeing Lamar Jackson. We're not seeing Jalen Hurts as efficient passers down the field. That is something that Justin Fields excels at. He wasn't given the proper opportunity to do that in Chicago. Last year, 10.1 yards was his average depth of target. That was second in the league, only behind Russell Wilson. There are a lot of numbers here that I'm not talking about that were poor for him. Just overall efficiency wasn't great, but I think under a new coaching staff, there's an opportunity to really, really improve the overall scheme of this offense and how they cater to his characteristics as a player and as a passer. This year is not the year for him. I might be looking to buy on him late in a redraft league, taking a shot on him because of his mobility, because it wasn't used enough. He has the mobility, better mobility than Jalen Hurts. I mean, I would probably compare him to Kyler Murray in terms of his rushing ability. So I think this is a chance to buy low on him. The stock is low, but he has all the talent to me to be an elite quarterback in this league in a couple of years with improved offensive line play and some better players at the skill position. I mean, we're not going to be seeing anyone be a quarterback 1 in the league, like the quarterback 1 with Darnell Mooney as their number 1 pass catching option. So he's a guy in a rebuild that I would be really, really interested in targeting. Second player up is Brandon Aiyuk. Let's start with the elephant in the room, the situation in San Francisco with Deebo Samuel. He wants out. He doesn't want to play the role of do-it-all wide receiver, one that is really attractive, I would think, to a lot of players in the league that are looking to, build their role in the offense and just be able to. A guy with that kind of opportunity has the chance to make a ton of money in this league, but I mean, your career might not last as long, and that's how Deebo Samuel sees it. And quite frankly, I can't blame him for that. But the rift between him and the organization is something. Perhaps it could be mended. Perhaps this could be healed. We saw it with Aaron Rodgers. He was back in Green Bay this past season, signed an extension. But for every guy like Rodgers, there's a guy like Deshaun Watson, like Russell Wilson, like Devontae Adams, where the situation is clear. They have to get them out, and there's no really saving it. So maybe the 49ers can save this situation with Deebo Samuel. I think it's unlikely. I think Kyle Shanahan doesn't really like to invest a lot of money into a player of Deebo Samuel's ilk. I think he's a guy that thinks he can really make something out of nothing. He's proven it at the running back position with the 49ers. So Brandon Aiyuk is a guy at 24 years old, has an opportunity to step into that role. He had a really tough 2021 season. In weeks 1 to 8, he was the wide receiver 90. I know Jared, who was on the show last season, was really high on Aiyuk because of his success the previous year in 2020, his rookie year, and it just fell flat. He just didn't have a good relationship with Shanahan beginning of the season. It looked like things weren't really where they were supposed to be. Shanahan was dogging him prior to the season in training camp, but bounced back really well. Last 7 games of the season was the wide receiver 23. So a chance here to be in an offense with Deebo Samuel, with George Kittle, where he can still be a wide receiver 2. That was with a really they had held up in terms of health offensively with those 3 guys last year. But I'm more looking at this from the perspective of a long-term investment beyond this year. It could be this year, but in years 2023 and 2024, if there's no Deebo Samuel, I think Aiyuk has the profile to fill this role that is not going to go away even with Trey Lance at quarterback. Last season, he was 9th in yards after the catch per reception, which is a category that Deebo led in last year. He was 6th in missed tackles forced. That's not per reception, that's just missed tackles forced. He was 6th, and he had more than 20, at least 20 receptions less than all the guys in front of him from 5th to 1st. So he was doing it with a low volume, still forcing a plenty of missed tackles. And then you look at the profile in terms of just their size. Deebo Samuel, 5'11", 214. Brandon Aiyuk, 6', 205. This guy forces missed tackles. He's a monster after the catch. He can play that exact role that Deebo did. So if Deebo's out, this is a great guy to invest in. And I think that position, like I said, is just not going away in this offense for as long as Kyle Shanahan is the head coach. So I'm looking to buy Brandon Aiyuk for sure, and I think he's a good investment for anyone that's rebuilding too. Last up is Kadarius Toney of the New York Giants. Guy has been driving me absolutely insane throughout the offseason. First, the trade rumors, and now this week they've had optional practices, and Toney has been practicing in a limited fashion. So there's a lot that's been going on in the offseason with Toney, but I mean, his production when he's on the field just sticks out immensely to me. The Giants, they're a team I'm high on. I might be more bullish on the Giants than maybe anyone but Giants fans. I really like what they did, bringing in Brian Daboll at head coach. I think that's going to be huge for the offense. Also, drafting Evan Neal with a premium pick is at a position they really needed to address. They did it through free agency, but they're also doing it with a premium pick in the draft is really, really nice. So I like the investments they've been making on the offensive line and just the entire cast. Toney, to me, has the entire profile to become the wide receiver 1 in this offense. I'm just not really that worried about Wan'Dale Robinson. I don't think his impact goes much beyond a slot role that doesn't demand high volume or a high production. Toney can play all over the field. I'm not really concerned about Kenny Golladay. He's getting older. We have those replaceable level guys in Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton. So I think there's a really good opportunity for him in the offense. And then I go back to some of those key metrics that I look to when I'm looking for a player to break out. To me, their target rate, that's just him being when he's on the field. How often is he being thrown the ball? Last season, 7th overall at the position, nearly 29% target rate last year. That is fantastic. 17th in yards per route run. Another great statistic. It takes that when he's on the field, how often is he looked to, but also combines it with, hey, when he's getting the ball, what's he doing with it? How explosive is he? 17th at the position. Missed tackles forced. Another one I really like that, again, tells me he can break some really big plays. He forced 12 missed tackles on only 39 receptions. This guy has all the makings of a guy that demands volume when he's on the field and is really efficient when he gets the ball in his hands. I love the opportunity for him in New York, and I think Daniel Jones being able to get in for a full season, like Kadarius Toney had to play a few games with Mike Glennon, Jake Fromm last year when he was available and when it was on the field. So Toney is a guy I think is a bit risky investment-wise just because of the injury issue. I'm not really worried anymore about the trade rumors. I think they're going to see him on the field. They're going to realize how valuable he is to this offense. I think him and Daniel Jones have an opportunity together to have a big year in 2022. But at 23 years old, this is a guy that can stick around the league and make a massive impact for a long time. So I'm definitely looking to get Kadarius Toney if I can. Those are the 3 players that I would be looking to buy if I am a rebuilding team in fantasy football this year in your Dynasty leagues. If you guys enjoyed the video, again, be sure to drop a like. If you hated the video, you think these picks suck, drop a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel. We'll be hitting you, again, with fantasy football content at least once a week for the next little while, and we'll pick things up as the redraft preseason gets going. Again, the full description on these guys, a little bit deeper dive will come down below in the article from the OwnersBox blog. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.